Today on Coming Out Stronger, we had an excellent session with Noah, who's the Economic Development Specialist at the Small Business Administration, where we discussed the disaster recovery resources available to assist small businesses and nonprofits during these uncertain times. He highly stressed paying attention to resources available at the federal, state, and at the local level, as well as encourage people to not essentially exclude themselves from the resources by thinking they don't qualify. A lot of exceptions are being made to ensure that we can provide relief to people right now. So I encourage you to listen to the small chat that we had and hopefully take action on some of the things that he shared with us today. Remember, coming out stronger, we need to do it together. We need to also check in on each other and share information so we can all be well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Wesley. Um, I'm doing okay. Really focusing now on the needs of our business owners here in the Bay Area. I work out of our San Francisco district office with the U.S. Small Business Administration, and the entire agency right now has completely shifted its focus to helping business owners kind of in this moment. Um, uh, Both weather the effects of the coronavirus shutdown, as well as access the resources and programs that are starting to come online now to support them. But right now, almost all the business owners I'm talking with, right, are they just saw a lot of their sales or their orders or their projects, their events, almost dry up overnight. And it depends on the industry. Some businesses are still open or are still working, but by and large, the item that most business owners that I'm working with right now are trying to stay on top of are their short-term cash flow issues. So that means looking at your expenses. It means looking really, really closely at your lease terms, at looking at what your existing obligations are, and having conversations with all of the institutions, whether it be a bank or whether it be your if you lease your commercial property from the landlord in that case, to your obligations to your employees as well. Having that conversation and taking a close look at what those expenses are, and controlling those expenses, because that's one of the conversations that a lot of business owners that I'm having right now are having internally and with themselves, and doing a lot of soul searching around. Last week, I believe in California, we came out with a complete statewide declaration of disaster for the state of California, which means that anywhere across the state of California, if you are a business owner or a nonprofit and you're seeing impacts on your business as a result of the coronavirus, you can go right now and apply for what's called an economic injury loan from the U.S. Small Business Administration. And to keep it at a high level to discuss this program, I think the three most important things that business owners should keep in mind is one, is you shouldn't self-select out. I get a lot of questions. Am I eligible? Will I be declined? Is there a nitty gritty questions about eligibility for the programs? And the high level on that is that if you've been affected by this, you should put in an application. And I say that for two reasons. One is that the eligibility criteria are broad, as it is, even under a normal circumstance. These programs get activated in disasters for floods and hurricanes and earthquakes all the time. But at the moment, especially because this is such an unprecedented national national kind of moment of crisis, the programs are evolving and changing and being streamlined in real time. So even between last week and but between Friday and Monday of last week, we've had 2 or 3 big changes to those programs, and depending on legislation in Congress and depending on conversations between now and next week, I fully imagine there to be further changes and streamlining and improvements in items that happen with those programs. So the number one piece of advice we have is, if you're a business and a nonprofit that's impacted, that you should get the ball rolling on the application process. And the terms of those loans, basically the way that they work, they are loans, they're not grants, and they are a 3.75% interest loan. It can go up to $2 million. They are based on the injury that a business owner or a nonprofit has or is projected to encounter over the course of this particular disaster. Normally, in a normal circumstance, these programs are activated after a disaster has already finished happening. So the flood waters have receded, right? And everybody has come back and they see their business and they see what's happened. And and we know what date the flood started and what date the flood ended, and we can say, okay, well, what was your lost sales over that period of time? And we can start to have a conversation about injury. People are discovering what the impacts from this from the shutdown have been in real time. Some of them are already known, but because it's still uncertain as to how long it's going to be in place, it's an ongoing unknown cost to business owners and nonprofits. And as a result, when folks apply, we'll be projecting losses, and that's how the amount of a loan is calculated as well. It's basically, we look at what a applicant is able to like whether they're able to meet those monthly payments, and what their injury is. So, and the injury is based on those lost sales and revenues. Those are kind of like the 3 items about those programs you should know about. But the general, advice for business owners that I have at this moment also, we'll stick with 3s. I've got I got 3 pieces of advice, for business owners that are trying to kind of evaluate like where they should be going for assistance right now. One is, and the advice I have is, because in the same way that the SBA has programs that are evolving to meet the moment, a lot of cities and states and counties and nonprofits and community organizations are doing the exact same thing right now. So the advice I have for business owners is, keep an eye on the federal level. That SBA.gov, our website, has a clearinghouse of information, but also there's a clearinghouse of information for programs that are coming out of the state of California. So if you go to business.ca.gov, that's the state of California's website for business owners, and they have a coronavirus page that's collecting information across all the different departments in the state of California. and it's good to go there and see what the state of California has. They have their own loan programs. They have unemployment programs that if you have employees, you can tap into. And they've all shifted and changed to be as generous, to be much more generous and much more aggressive than they had been in the past. And I imagine they'll continue to shift and evolve over the next week or more, multiple weeks. And then at the local level, tapping in and keeping an eye on your local local resources. So whether it's your city, so I'm seeing different programs roll out on a city by city basis. I saw the city of Berkeley and the city of San Francisco, and I've seen some programs roll out, I think in the city of San Jose, maybe. So these are popping up. Little small programs that are for local businesses, that are for and they're being run by your community organizations and community institutions. Chats like this being hosted by CoBiz, and I imagine you, Wesley, are putting out information to all of your to the business community in Richmond, as well about programs and items that they're taking advantage of. So right now is the moment to kind of have to watch the radar. Look at this at the federal, look at the state, and look at the local levels, and continually reassess and continually relook at those different venues, because the situation is evolving on a daily basis. For the disaster loans, there's this is one of the changes that happened over the weekend as well, and that any disaster loan, existing or new, that is issued by the SBA will have a 1-year deferment period on the loan. So your first payment wouldn't have to be made until 1 year after the date of receiving those funds. So proprietors are absolutely eligible. Yeah, they should definitely apply. Yeah, you could look at our office also. If you're trying to work with the application, if you have questions, our office is still open. I'm working from my home. This is my normal office location, but we're all working now, and you can reach out to sfomail@sba.gov. That's our local address, and we're actively responding to folks who are having questions with the SBA application from that location. If you go to sba.gov, right on the homepage, we have a learn more kind of button about the coronavirus. If you want to go straight to the application, it's disasterloan.sba.gov.